So I don't know where we left off, but we have a valve cover leak, passenger side. We have a fuel plate leak, just a little one, but it's actually proper dripping. So we need to fix that one for sure. Yeah, so we got that going. I have to put up these trunks. We use them for our ski gear. They're actually pretty good if you ever need a trunk that's watertight. It's got a rubber seal on the top. Sits down on there. Nothing gets wet inside. You can throw it on the back of your car, on top, or whatever. It's a Remington heavy duty storage trunk, 82 quart or 77.6 liter. Weather tight seal, durable reinforced construction, yada yada yada. It's actually pretty good if you need one. So I went to, let me see if I can see what you see. Day Motorsports. This is their 2024 catalog. I mean, might as well pick one up. This is probably my first, I don't know, however many videos were about racing. You know, built for dirt original concept. Most of the stuff that I got came from Day. They're a majority Circle Trek warehouse, but 350s and 305s that go into a race car have the same valve covers as a street car. So I swung by Day and picked up a 1628 Fel Pro performance gaskets, the ones that have the aluminum or like a thin steel material inside, so it'll be much stiffer, hold itself more centered, hopefully clear my leaks on top. I got some of their Protex hold downs. They're the cheapest Chinese knockoff deals you can get, but I have a couple of them that weren't straight, so hopefully that'll cure that. And yeah, that's where we're at. I think turn the lights up in here a little bit and move the motor over some so I can get to it and get to work. All right, so that's that on the leaks that we had. So we changed out the valve cover gaskets to the Felpro 1628s, cured that problem. The leak was on the back side of the little block off plate. Excuse me. So I just put a fresh gasket on there. Sucker's still warm. Brought it up to about 210. The only thing left we have to do is I might have to get like a 165 thermostat. That sucker is rocking nice and hot, so change that out. I might have to find this gasket material also. My neighbor let me borrow it, but man, that's pretty fancy. So yeah, that's where we're at. Oh, y'all are nasty. Next up, change thermostat. We'll cycle it 1 or 2 more times up to temp. Maybe one of the times we'll just let it ride at temp for, you know, another. We've burned about 2.5 gallons, something like that, through it. So maybe do another 2.5 gallons total. That'll take us, a couple more cycle temps and then like one long run. See how it does. We got some kind of a slight miss, it seems like, on the driver's side. So start figuring that out. That's about it. Stay tuned. All right, I ran by the part shop. Got me a fresh thermostat. It says 160F on it. The one that we put in there was a 195. I also got this rubber cellulose sheet. Perfect for water pumps, inlets, yada, yada, yada. And I got somewhere in here, Felpro water net gasket. So yeah, so when I'm running it, we're riding right around the 200 range with it idled up just a little bit. If it's all the way down on idle, it's actually climbing up to the 230. That's actually why we have the electric fan here. So we're gonna pop the neck, swap out the thermostats, and then I think we're gonna cycle about 2 more gallons of fuel through it. And if that does anything good, we're going to pull this thing off the run stand and put it in the car. Okay, so I started by throwing a siphon down into the radiator to catch some of the water, and that is what came out of it. So, and then if you look in there, let me see if I can get you some more light. Look how much sediment is going through the system. I got the old one out, everything cleaned off. Going on with the 160. Feel like I'm putting this in backwards, but that's what everything I see says to do it. Caveat to that is this thing says motor to rad this way, which I don't, anyhow. I'm gonna go with the way I think it's supposed to be, even though that says, I feel like that's written on there wrong. But when the thermostat doesn't open, we know why. All right, we got her fueled up. We got her, oh, we don't have her fueled up yet. Stand by. All right, now we got her fueled up. Hopefully y'all can see, but line's right there at 2.5 gallons. We got 12 volts of battery, probably enough to cycle it one time. Then we'll throw it on the charger. Everything's dried up. Radiator's fuel, fuel's fuel. Oil is right at the fill mark, or full mark. Have to swap this down. Dipstick out for something else. Okay. Let's fire up. We got what, 40 psi, oil pressure, 12 volts. No temp yet. What did we lose? I think it just rolled out of timing. Did we all of a sudden gain a vacuum leak? What's going on here? See no vacuum leaks. All right, I'm gonna set y'all down over here on the side. Just know I'm about to fire this thing back up, figure out what's going on with the timing, and then yeah, I'm gonna cycle it up to temperature and let it cool back off. I believe we lost prime on the fuel pump. So, and that's very possible because this thing was almost empty. So I'm going to hit the electric fuel pump real quick with some voltage. Give it a little go juice and then try it again. All right, let's see if that works a little better. So it looks like we're just about up to temperature. We're just gonna let it sit here and idle for a while, see how it does. Looks like it's about 175-ish maybe. Somewhere in there, 165. Can't tell exactly, but looks like it's opened up. Feels like it's opened up. Fills top radiator hose. It's getting nice and warm. Got the radiator cleaned out pretty good. Not seeing any leaks. I still have that slight miss. So we may, maybe I'll pop all the spark plugs, see what they look like after this thing cools down some. Definitely gonna have to put the battery back on charge. She's running about as low as she can go, so maybe that's causing some of it too. Anyhow, I'll update y'all after I clean up my mess and get the motor back in here. All right, I ran about another gallon through it. I hooked up the PCV valve onto the vacuum outlet for it, and I adjusted the fuel ratio a little bit, cleared up the popping a little bit. I think it was running a touch rich. I'm just running the electric fan my neighbor let me borrow for just a little bit. It's sitting at right at 190 after I shut it off. And I think we have cured all leaks. There was a little bit of oil that dripped out of this breather. So I cleaned that up and I haven't had any since. So maybe it's already in it. And that's it. Pan's nice and clean. Front of the pan's nice and clean. It's getting late. We're gonna push this thing up in the garage, let it cool off, see if we see any more signs of leaks. And we're back. New day. First day of my days off. I think the last thing I decided was we should try to pull spark plugs, just take a glance, see what they're doing. We burned about 2.5 gallons through it on the run stand, so yeah, we'll see what we got going. Ooh, it's too tight. I would say made in Japan. Ridiculous. I did not know that. I would say that one looks okay for sitting mainly at idle on a run stand. A little wet around the threads, but that's probably from the oil leak that was over here. Then I'm gonna check real quick on the Google machine and see what the proper gap is. That one looks slightly big, so be right back. So quick glance on the Google machine said 0.35 for an 86, 0.45 for a 83. We're just gonna meet it in the middle, go 0.4, see how that does. It was set at a 0.37, so whatever kind of measurement that is. Okay, whoever tightened these up killed them. It was me. Too tight. Okay, that's ridiculous. This one's about the same. Threads are pretty moist. Build-up doesn't look too bad. Of course, I did say that I did mess with the idle adjustment screws on the motor. Tighten them down a little bit. Took a little bit of fuel away, so maybe running a little rich. Clean that up a touch. And this one's already almost basically well comfy. That one's already, that was like a .37, I guess 0.037. Jesus. Oh. Threads are a little bit cleaner on this one. This one's right there at that 0.36, 0.37 mark. Maybe 0.38. A little wink. 0.04. sound looks perfect. .36, .37. .04. Let's do the other side. This is the side it seems like the pop's coming from, so hopefully we see one that's different. That one looks pretty good.
I'm on my way out to Brock.
Too much. Well, these are the idle. These are the idles. Crank it back over.
Right now?
Yep. Alright, so I cranked it up at 8:15 this evening. I'm gonna burn 2.5 gallons, and then we will see if we have any leaks. If not, we're gonna pull the motor and put it on in the car. Alright, we got another new day. We got another gallon through. I wasn't able to crank the motor until like 8:15, I think I said when. So we burned one more gallon through. I don't have any drips, any leaks, so I'm gonna go ahead and say that we are in the good. So next step is to go ahead and start prepping this thing to get pulled off the run stand. Basically dewire it, pull the carb off the front, pull the fan off, and I think it'll, well, and pull the radiator hoses and whatnot off. So, and then I think it should just come right on after that. So yeah, I'll probably put you on a time lapse so you can watch. All right, I got the motor all prepped up to come off the run stand. Pretty simple task. Take the front accessories off, pulled the spark plug wires. I want to say that I had the distributor out whenever I pulled the motor just to protect it, but I think I can probably get away with just pulling off the cap. Unhooked all the fuel lines, unhooked all the electrical. Houston, we do have a problem. I didn't design this run stand to pull the motor off. I designed this run stand to put the motor on and use. So yeah, we're gonna have some hiccups right here. I think what I'm gonna do is just snug up, unbolt everything front and back, and then see if I just can't wiggle it around the corner. So I'll let you watch. All right, so I got the motor off the run stand. Didn't drop anything, so that's good. Still hanging here. So I thought while I was up here in my teeth, I would try and go ahead and remove the bolts from the exhaust manifolds. Sheared it off. This one was already broke off. I think that's my deciding factor right there. I think I'm gonna go ahead and get a set of manifolds from, who was it, Summit? Whenever I order them or whatever, I'll let y'all know what it was. But as of right now, the motor's off the run stand. We're gonna drop it down some. We'll go ahead and stab on this 700 R4 we got. Made it up. Then pick her back up again. Made up the torque converter, and then it's gonna be ready to go in the car. All right, little update. The motor mounts for the V6 are actually set further back, and they're a different mount. So I'm gonna go ahead and run to the local parts store in the morning, grab the new ones, move them forwards. I actually have to disconnect the brake line, shift it to the back of the cross member. Motor is out, transmission is mounted. We're getting close. One more day. Good morning. Day 1000 or something of this. I got the car on jack stands in the back. It's just got the lift on the front. I still have to move the motor mounts. I think I'm gonna go ahead and just measure real quick to get a pretty good idea of how far it is right now. Make sure that I'm putting them in the right spot, and then yeah, we'll come back to you here in a little bit. I'm gonna go ahead and swap these motor mounts around, and then hopefully set the nose down, put a motor in. That was a very fun challenge. Okay, so to put the bolts in, you really have to kind of finagle your way. I ended up taping up a socket and a knuckle to kind of hold it in position, and then also use some wrenches. That was challenging. Obviously the brake line's not too much of a deal. I just kind of shifted it over. I had to bend both sides a little bit. Hopefully I didn't bend it too much. We'll find out the hard way on that. All right, we got check torque on the transmission. Put the motor mount clamshells on. It's going in. That's how I dropped the motor on the front of the car the first time. Looks like I might have to replace the ram. At least there were seals in the ram. All right, after a quick run back up to Harbor Freight, grab a fresh ram. I think we're ready to put this thing in. I just couldn't get it over it. The ram had gone so bad. I didn't have time to go find all the O-rings to redress it, so anyhow, maybe we'll make a video on redressing a ram. Alright, let me get y'all set up. I'll get me set up and we'll get this motor stabbed in the car. This would be a little easier with more than one person, but very doable by yourself. You just have to choose the right lifting point, and then realize, like, once you get down low, transmissions don't have to slide across the ground as you slide the motor back into position. Oh, okay, if y'all are doing a third gen Camaro, probably lots of the Camaros have a long nose on them. I think the right way to bring a motor transmission combo in is come from the side of the car, walk the transmission in, and then turn the lift until you get it tucked all the way in. What I did was come in from the front, realized I couldn't reach, set the motor down on the radiator support, moved the motor hook, tried to reach it further, still couldn't reach far enough, set it down on the cross member, moved the hoist around to the side, realized I couldn't reach all the way to center mass from the side without taking the wheel off. Instead of doing that, I just grabbed a stepper bit and punched me an extra hole. And instead of the chain coming straight down off the dill, I threw it off the front. And that gave me just enough reach to get it all lined up. Motor mounts are bolts in. I'm gonna have to get underneath the car, get the transmission mounted up, and then we're gonna be mounted. And then it's just a matter of getting all the accessory drive bolted back up, deciding how we're going to go about fuel. My plan was to run the mechanical fuel pump, but this is actually a electric fuel pump car. So I'm just going to have to do a little research, decide which way, how will be cheaper to pull the electric fuel pump out. Maybe I could just draw through the electric fuel pump. That would probably be the cheapest way to do it, but I don't know if I can or not. So yeah, I either need to get a regulator for the electric fuel pump or figure out a way to get the electric fuel pump out of line so I can go directly to the mechanical fuel pump. So yeah, the motor is back in a car. New car. This was the 305 out of the 84. Now sitting in the V6 model 91. And we have plenty of wiring to do. I'm trying, boys. Motor's in. Starter is connected. You can crank it with the key. We just have to figure out what, actual, 3 wires, 5 wires we need out of this whole mess to crank the car. But I can show you real quick. Car turn over. So this is that's the fuel line. And there you have it. Fuel spraying out everywhere. Mechanical still apparently has a little bit left in it. We still haven't blown any oil out the back. I'm assuming that there is a electrical oil pressure sensor. We'll have to get for back there. Figure out which wire goes to that. This thing did have electric fans. They're back here. We'll probably throw a battery to it just to see if it kicks on. If it does kick on, then we'll probably just remount this and you know, set it to a connection in, you know, thermostat housing or something for when the temperature gets warm. It'll kick on. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at right now. Another day down. The motor is in. But I would like to drive it for you. Oh, I also got the whole transmission mount, torque bar, I guess that's what you call it, connected to the rear end. Like the whole back half is completely connected. So that part is done. We need to still connect the shifter linkage and the throwdown cable at some point in time, but that'll have to wait till at least tomorrow. I'll see y'all later. Good morning. It's the last day for this video. Win or lose, we do not have it running yet. I have a huge mess, wires going everywhere. So my plan is to mate the torque converter to the flex plate, hook up the shifter linkage to the transmission, and then put the front accessories on. I think we're gonna set the radiator that I used for the test fires in there. We have my neighbor's electric fan, and then I also have the electric fan that was on the car originally. We're probably just gonna throw one of those on there and hot wire it to the battery. I think the only other system that I have to block off is the cooling system. I got a sensor for it, but it's the wrong connection. And then I'm gonna run the mechanical fuel pump. I just wanna be able to drive it today. On this video, I want it to move under its own power for the first time in however long. When you turn the key on, the electric fuel pump runs for a minute. So I just got a little catch can sitting in there to catch it right now. I do plan on figuring out what I need to transfer that over. All right, we're much further along now. I got my dummy tank in because this is a fuel injected car. So I'm just gonna pull my fuel fuse, fuel pump fuse. Radiator's in, factory fans back in. I just have it hardwired to the battery. I got a little spade connector I can slide together once I get it cranked up when we go for a little run. Carburetor's on, getting fuel. I need to tighten up this bracket. Once I get that tight, I have to put the alternator on, tighten the belt up so we got a water pump. Underneath I have to put the trans lines on, and I'm just going to have a set that are off the 84 that I'm just going to take and cut down real short and then run this little loop around together. So that's where we're at right now. I think all of this is non-use. Maybe this orange one goes to something. I think all of this is ECM. I kind of rerouted everything back and organized it a little bit. I filled up the transmission. Well, I'll put 5 quarts in it. So once we get it actually cranked up and running, it'll, you know, need a little bit more. So give me a little bit more time. I think tonight we're gonna drive it out of the garage for the first time in however long years. That's it, boys. I'm out of time. Tried to get it running, but it is what it is. We did it. Camaro is running. I'm pumped. I'm excited. We still got a ton of wiring to deal with. I just went on the blind faith that it worked fine on the run stand. I still need a oil pressure sensor. Still need to hook up the temp sensor. But we did it, boys. Days off are over, but the car is running. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.